Chapter 9, 9 p.m. UTC-6, 4 a.m. UTC+1. In Cyprus Regional Hospital, my ears tuned to the sounds of World Junior Hockey. A few minutes into the third period, Canada scored again to make the score 6-0 over Denmark. A new nurse, fresh at the start of her shift, entered the room and spent a few minutes asking me questions. She disconnected the intravenous line but left the needle apparatus in place in my forearm. Just in case we need it again, she explained. Now do yourself a favor and get to sleep. Lights off by 10 so you don't disturb your neighbor. She went to speak to the other man, although he seemed a little perturbed at the interruption to the hockey game. I carefully got to my feet to go to the washroom, swaying a little with some dizziness. By the time I emerged, Canada had scored 2 more goals. "That's it, boys! Give 'em a thumping!" cheered my roommate, raising a bony arm in triumph. I scanned social media and made a few comments, but felt myself tiring. "Okay, follow the advice and let yourself rest. Don't take your recovery for granted just because you know you will recover." I lowered the hospital bed to horizontal and got under the covers. The hockey game ended with Canada completing the dominant quarter-final victory over the Danes. My roommate turned off the TV and settled in for the night as well. Lights were switched off. I didn't fall asleep immediately, kept alert by sounds from the hallway. My eyes were still open when the day skip came, and everything shifted to Saturday hockey in Medicine Hat. The Swift Current Broncos went on the offensive after a turnover in the neutral zone and skated in toward the Tigers' net, 3-on-1. The right winger slid the puck over to the center, who wired a shot straight toward the upper corner of the net, but the Medicine Hat goalie flashed his glove and saved a sure goal. The whistle blew. "Oh," groaned Jordan, "they can't score." The Broncos had outplayed the Tigers, but neither team had scored. The buzzer ending the first period sounded at 8:09 Alberta time, 9:09 Saskatchewan time. I felt relaxed and was enjoying myself. The needling anxiety had thoroughly melted away. But coffee pushed through my system. "Gotta go to the washroom," I told my friends, and left to join the crowds who moved with the same goal in mind. On the way back to my seat, I unexpectedly spotted my sister standing with a cluster of people in the concourse. I went close and nudged her arm. She turned. "Kyle, what are you doing here?" she asked with surprise and a smile. Her springy, reddish hair moved with her head. "Mom and Dad said you were released from hospital just this morning." "Feeling better," I explained with a shrug. My sister, 2 years younger than me, attended college in Medicine Hat. "Tyler knows a guy who had tickets. We came." We quickly covered some other topics, ranging from my sister's classes to Dad's upcoming birthday. All the while, I fought the urge to confide in her about the day skips and trip to Paris. The memory of shared childhood confidences made me wish I could say something about what was going on with me. Then something strange happened. Not far off, next to a concession booth, came a splash. Someone had dropped a drink. The contents splashed over several nearby fans, and they, at the same moment I looked over toward the scene, moved. I looked directly into the eyes of the 60-something man who had lost his grip on a cup. The man's face lit up. "I don't believe it! It's you!" he exclaimed. I didn't recognize him and turned my head to see if he meant someone else. But he pointed directly at me. "The hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years!" he said loudly. His features twisted into desperation. "They said you could help me. Make it stop. Please make it stop. The bending, the breaking. I can't take it anymore." The part of the concourse where we stood had become silent. The man was about to step toward me when a woman took his arms and seemed to speak consolingly to him. Another man helped turn him away, and they led him toward an exit. The noise of the concourse resumed, and the crowds filled in the gap between me and the man. But he looked back and caught my eye. I saw him mouth the words, "Help me." "Boy, that was weird," commented my sister. I had forgotten she was next to me. "What was that all about?" I didn't know, but the way that man had looked at me, mentioned days and weeks and other time frames, appealed specifically for my help. Sounds from the ice surface indicated the hockey game was about to resume. One of my sister's friends pulled her along as they started back to their seats. She waved goodbye. I found my seat. The second period unfolded differently than the first. The Medicine Hat team carried the play. At 8:31, just over 7 minutes into the period, The Tigers scored the game's first goal. Jordan and Tyler slumped in their seats. I, on the other hand, hardly cared. Something had changed since seeing my sister and the incident in the concourse. The seriousness of the situation I faced in Paris loomed large in my soul again. It was all too much. Determination and faith were sagging. The second period ended at 8:58 p.m., the Tigers still holding a 1-0 lead over the Broncos. Tyler checked his phone. He looked at me. "I don't believe this," he said, turning the display toward my face. As I tried to focus my eyes on what he wanted to show me, I found myself behind the steering wheel in my car. I jumped in surprise, as much as you can when strapped in with a seatbelt. My car idled on the shoulder of the highway. The lights of Regina shone nearby. It's Sunday evening again. The somber mood didn't lift. I resumed driving. There was a fairly new Days Inn hotel on the nearby southwest corner of Regina, not far from the airport, so I decided to stay there. At 9:12 I turned into the hotel's parking lot and shut down the motor. Collecting my belongings, I made a dash into the lobby. Rooms were available. I perked up when I learned that the hotel water park was open until 10 p.m. "I am going to take that in," I said, in inward defiance to the somber mood. I went to my room. "It's not the Hotel International, but it'll do." Setting a few things in order, I grabbed my swimming gear, and I didn't even know from my future day skips I would be going swimming. It's good to be prepared. I returned to the ground floor and entered the pool area. I swam, a favorite activity, careened down the steep and dark water slide tube, soaked in the hot tub. Whatever will come in Paris will come without me worrying about it. As 10 p.m. approached, a playful thought presented itself. I'm going to try to time it so I'm heading down the water slide when my day skip hits. When the pool area clock showed 9:58, I left the hot tub and climbed the stairs to the water slide entry. Guessing at the time, I plunged into the dark tunnel. The sensation of plummeting downward continued just for an instant as I emerged from the day skip into my airplane seat, somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. "Going?" came Ingela's voice from beside me. I looked at her, wondering what had preceded that word scant seconds ago / 7 hours ago. "I'm sorry, I was kind of lost in my thoughts," I offered when she said nothing further. "Where are you flying to?" she restated. "Oh, that," I said as I looked back to my meal. I took a bite of something which might have been meat. "Well, from Frankfurt I fly to Paris." "Paris is a wonderful place. I have been there 3 or 4 times," continued my Swedish roommate. "I always stay in a lodge called the Hotel International on Rue Auguste Barbier. Clean, good neighborhood, breakfast with your stay. I highly recommend it." I smiled. "Thank you," I replied. "I believe I will take your recommendation." We continued to talk as we ate. I asked about her home, her family, her interests outside of her work. When the food trays were cleared, Ingela resumed reading. I consulted the flight progress map on the display in front of me and noted we would soon be over Ireland. I considered what I could expect in the coming day skips. I'll be sleeping in tomorrow's hour, but then my alarm will wake me at the end of the next 2 day skips. I felt a twinge of panic, knowing the time for action was coming soon. I watched the time tick to the top of the hour. The alarm on my phone chirped to life, waking me up on a Paris Thursday. And then I woke up again, more slowly. When I got my bearings, I looked at the time. 4:39 a.m. Guess I woke up before my alarm. I subtracted 7 from the hour. It's still in the 9 p.m. hour back home. At 4:47, I started thinking about the plan for this Friday morning. I need to call Jeremy and see what's going on, to decide my next move for today. But first I'll check the news. Maybe that will help me yesterday, or 6 day skips in my future. But before I took my phone, I felt an internal nudge. I recognized it. It led in the direction of being willing to do what I was being asked to do, yet not feel like all responsibility fell on me. So I deliberately and thoughtfully said aloud, "How may I serve? You are in control of all things, including my day skipping. You have a purpose, or many purposes, for all of this." An inner quiet came. It was welcome. In a few minutes, I accessed the internet for Paris news. 3 headlines stood out immediately. Service station robbed by suspected Charlie Hebdo terrorists. Eiffel goes dark in mourning. And policewoman killed in early Thursday morning shooting. I already know the Eiffel Tower went dark. I was there, I told my phone. I've got to read about the Charlie Hebdo terrorists. I began scanning the article, but for some reason felt compelled to switch to the article about the slain policewoman. I'd just started reading when...